much for joining. Happy Faces. I know all of you. Thank you again for joining and for supporting us during this Digital Week Online. And I'm super excited to host this panel. And I think let's start with a round of introductions. Who wants to go first?
I'll take it.
Go for it.
Hey, everybody. My name is Dylan Love. I'm a writer, editor, and consultant working with businesses and media outlets to help them tell their stories in English.
Short and sweet, Dylan. Right, straight to the point. Nice one.
How's it going, guys? My name's Kalani Moy. I'm the creative director and global marketing director for Velas Network AG and CoinPayments.net.
Okay, cool. Eleanor, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Eleanor. I'm based in Amsterdam, and I have founded Crypto Canal to focus on marketing and business development here in the Netherlands. And I also work with Satoshi's Angels, which is a 3-woman powered branch of between media and marketing and business development, and really focused on connecting the East and the West.
Amazing. And Jack, I know it's super late in Shenzhen, but you're keeping up with us, so thanks for joining, man.
Cheers. Hi, everyone. I'm Jack, and I'm the global ambassador of Cybervein. So Cybervein is a crypto project focusing on distributed storage as well as a big data solution. And I'm actually in Shanghai at the moment.
Okay.
But yeah, it's still the time zone, same time zone.
Just super late. Okay, so our talk today is going to last for an hour, and I'm sure some of you will stay on, others will drop off, and some other folks will join. So I'm definitely going to stay with all of you, with our guests and with our audiences for an hour, and we're going to break it into 3 parts. In the beginning, we're going to be talking about creating sticky communities. Then the second part, we're going to be talking about storytelling and whether it's something that you either inherit and live with, or it's something that you develop over time. And if you do develop it, how can you do that? And I'm really looking forward to sharing different stories and what you guys have gone through. And then the last thing is, I think we can brainstorm a tiny little bit on how we're seeing a convergence of marketing and product that creates this new initiative growth. You're seeing this in large corps and also in the crypto world, chief growth officer, right? What does that mean? You know, what happens with companies when marketing and product get together? And yeah, let's pick this apart. Let's see what's happening. And I'm gonna mute all of the notifications from all my. Yeah, apologies for that. So yeah, let's begin. So let's focus on creating sticky communities. So I really want to maybe start with Eleanor, because you are a community manager from different perspectives. So how do you go about creating like raging fans for your community? So maybe if you could share a few examples with us.
Well, first of all, I think that I really like the term sticky community, because I feel like I have a lot of problems actually to make it stick sometimes. I think in a decentralized world, right, where everybody has their own identity and values and everybody's living on different time zones and have their own priorities, sticky communities are not they're not that easy to create, especially when you have people with such different audiences and target groups. If you're talking to developers or miners or, business developers, they have completely different agendas. I've built communities, I guess, naturally, organically, here in Amsterdam, just by the sticky things or meetups. The sticky thing that was gathering and talking about crypto and blockchain and everything, and that I think was what kept us together. At a larger, I guess, international. Wait, my cat wants to say hi and wants to also be sticky. But basically, I would say that what I saw in the crypto community and what made us stick together is the values that we share. I think that was really strong from the get-go with a lot of people that I'm close to, and that I can see, the extended community, I would say, is there's certain values that they share. There's certain angles that will keep people together. You need something quite strong, actually, to be able to herd cats, pun intended. You need values. You need something that people can, drop off the meetup scene for 6 months and they come back and they still feel that they're part of the community because we still represent those same values. So that's how I would go about creating sticky communities. And then of course, events, but also just that peer-to-peer connection is what makes people stick together. If with this year we have to do everything online and it's fine and I think it works, but sharing a beer and just being there head to head with people and arguing endlessly about things actually matters. It counts. So that's how I would say.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I resonate a lot with what you said about doing a lot of things online, and we are being online. But what I'm also quite excited about, and I'm going to throw the ball to Jack, there's an event happening in Shanghai on the 26th of October. Cybervein is hosting it for the community, and it's a live event, which for me in Europe, that's absolutely crazy. But apparently China is way ahead, and they seem to be back to normal. So yeah, what's been your experience, Jack? Maybe you can share a few things about building sticky communities and how Cybervein did it.
Yeah, so I only switched my role from the technical part being to the global ambassador, but being the global ambassador, I'm actually not able to fly anywhere outside China at the moment. So pretty much I put all of my focus in building communities in China solely at the moment. So for me, it's really similar to, I'd say, how the presidential election holds in the US, dare I say, because I've been to so many different cities in China, and some of them are red and some of them are blue in comparison to that of in America. For example, in cities like Shanghai or Shenzhen, we have more, educated people, or people who, knows more about the technology, or just more topics in the crypto world. They might be, they might look into more spectrums. For example, who the teams are, and what the backgrounds, and what the technology actually do, and are there actually any applications or not. But in those second tier or third tier cities, they mostly just focus on the growth, or the profits they might get. It's really straightforward and simple. But like Eleanor said, it's the same thing. You just need to figure out what the communities actually want and keep feeding them. But it sounds simple, but it's actually super hard, because I'd say in any businesses, finding out what your target audience is and what they truly want is a really difficult job. Especially, I mean, if we look at China, it's such a big place. Not to mention that crypto is facing the entire world. So I've absolutely no idea what people actually want in crypto world in India. Absolutely no bloody idea. But yeah, just try your best to find out what they really want and keep, showing them results. No matter is in technology advancements or, just profit in crypto. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Thanks, Jack. And I want to throw the ball to Kalani. Veles has built quite expansive and international communities all over the place. So what has been your experience? What's your secret sauce?
I think when I started out, when I first started with Veles, I think we had about 4,000 members in our Telegram and like 1,500 Twitter followers. Now, like combined, I think we have close to 100,000 if you combine all our followers between our Telegram and our Twitter and some of the other avenues. But the main thing is just getting the right people in the right places, right? So for instance, if you're going to localize something in a community, you want to make sure that those people are good, right? You want to make sure that that community moderator is actually really good and he understands what he's doing. And then another thing you want to do is you want them to be authentic. Like authenticity is really big. I think that makes a huge difference. You also don't want to look like a bulletin board. You don't want to just, I almost like encourage them to not be so like straightforward with the stuff that they do. I want them to grab people's attention. I want them to be different. We start looking like every single other blockchain company, then we just stay with the rest of the pack. So I try different types of ways, like creative styles. I even tell them to like, I don't even care if you get into an argument with someone as long as you don't get past these different boundaries, because it's good, it grabs attention. You know, that we're in the age of people are being fed so much information constantly that you got to do something to grab their attention, man. You got to keep them there, got to interest them. I mean, it goes deeper than that, but yeah, that's one of the things. And then obviously, you know, when building communities, I think that consistency, obviously, that's kind of a given. Consistency is really important. Yeah, and just kind of having a cool vibe. It's weird, man. Communities are like, it's all about the vibe of the community, right? Like a dead community, like someone like is looking at the project, they walk into the community or they go on Telegram or something and they look at it and they're just like, this is weird. Like this has a weird vibe. Like you want to make the vibe fun, happy. And I actually think that it's okay when people argue a little bit inside communities because it makes more people watch, as long as it's not going like too far, right? So that would be my first kind of thing when, if you were to build some communities from scratch. So that's kind of, I guess, yeah, that would be what I would say.
Yeah, but it's also building and maintaining that, and I really appreciate this the human component, right? If it's too polished, if it's too perfect, that's not really human, right? We're not perfect, therefore, you know, we need to replicate that. Whatever we have in real life, we need to somehow replicate that in the digital life. So yeah, I'm totally with you.
I mean, you got to imagine that okay, none of us can be in places with a lot of people, but you got to imagine that, say like we're all in the same room, not everyone's going to be super polite, not everyone's going to get along, not everyone's going to have the same opinions, you know what I mean? So we have to kind of let them do that thing. Like they're in our community, so we got to let them be themselves. And yeah, I guess just I would say that, to me, that's something that really gets people to stick around, because they have so many options of different communities to go into. They have so many different things that they can look into. I mean, there's so much information being thrown at them. You have to do stuff that makes them want to come back because they feel like their voice can be heard and they can feel like they're getting good information.
No, yeah, that's fair. And I want to pass the ball to Dylan. What do you have to say, my man?
I haven't heard anything I disagree with yet. I mean, anytime you can get a lot of people talking, whether it's to good ends or slightly more, with a little bit more friction involved, is like Kalani said, as long as it doesn't cross a line, you're going to get eyeballs, and eyeballs turn into engagement over time. Obviously, the substance of what people are talking about matters quite a bit, but within the context of a community with some shared visions and goals, that substance will provide itself in no time.
Okay. What I'm also observing is that even the way that we or like companies interact with communities has somehow evolved in the past few years, because prior to, I don't know, 2016, 17, it was all about creating a product and then finding the right audiences or finding the right users and buyers. Now it's more about, hey, let's build a community and then talk to the community and figure out what exactly we're building so it actually suits their needs, and then have that raging 500 to 5,000 or 10,000 fan base that are going to be, one, your early adopters, and two, they're going to be your ambassadors that are going to go out there and get you more customers. So to me, I really appreciate this new trend. It's almost like a co-creation in a way with your communities, and it kind of democratizes the whole product creation in a way. So yeah, for example, maybe, I don't know, Jack, you wanna talk about what we're doing with Dave and Cross, and how communities engaged with some of the name selection and all of the other things, because that's also quite cool.
Yeah, but with our new products, we haven't done much of the targeted marketing yet. We just let it play out naturally, But what I've seen with other communities from our crypto space is actually quite interesting, especially in China. It's rather straightforward. It's just that you go to the community, you build the community, and then you throw out the as much gifts, sort of like candies out there as possible. I think it's sort of like even like a cult culture in China. Just look at Luckin Coffee, if you guys have heard of it. It's Yeah. So they became quite big in China because they just gave a huge PowerPoint saying that, okay, everyone in China is drinking tea. Not many of them are drinking coffee. So coffee must be a huge market in China. Then they got big. They got like thousands of stores in China and keep giving out coffee for free. Then they got pretty big. Then yeah, exactly, like airdrops. And then they went on to NASDAQ. Then the Americans find out that they're doing some shady things with their taxes or, numbers. But yeah, that's one of the fastest ways to get communities, and that's what they're doing in China. Though that's not what we are doing at Cybervein. We just, at the moment, we are letting it play out naturally and putting more of our focus on the technology development, because we didn't just want to be, bloom like a firework. We want to, we want it to last.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna go to Eleanor again. You said Satoshi Angels.
Yeah.
So what is it exactly?
This came to me this year. I was working with Bitcoin.com, and I had the worst title that anybody could have in 2020, which is Global Events Manager. You don't want to be that this year at all. It was supposed to be a great, fantastic traveling year. And these girls knocked on my door and they were like, hey, we need someone in Europe and we want to do this. And they've been already doing it. But maybe I should have started, because everybody's talking about their community. And for better or worse, I'm not a maximalist, but for some reason, for the last 3 years, I've been surrounded and revolving in the Bitcoin Cash community. That's where I am. That's where I have all my energy and my focus. And that's why I think I talked about values in the beginning, because I guess for better or worse, this community is all about, censorship resistant peer-to-peer electronic cash. There's other cryptocurrencies out there that can also do that. And I know we're going to talk about storytelling afterwards, but the storytelling behind Bitcoin Cash is so strong. It's like this really like this inherited story that we have, this sort of this drive. And these two women that I'm working with, which for the first time I'm working with two other women, and it's fantastic. We have these same values. We know what we're working on. We know that we're passionate about this. We're passionate about cryptocurrencies being used as payment. And that's like our main focus. And then we sort of, our sauce, or like what we do is like, we really give like brand awareness for companies from all the way to China to Europe. And basically, for example, like our next gig is on Monday, and it's a virtual event. And for me, it's all very new to be experimenting with Chinese platforms, but we're doing a live stream with two whales. Basically, we're connecting a whale from the east and a whale from the west, and then we put them on a live stream. And the numbers that we get over there are fantastic. Like, you have one event there and you have thousands of people. Your outreach is like instant, right? The Chinese market is just so exciting, because when you do something on this side or on Europe side, it's like, okay, you get a couple hundred people, you have all your Telegram groups, you have your Twitter. But experimenting with these platforms where you can reach out, literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people at the same time, that's what we do right now. We really play on all these marketing aspects, and I'm involved a lot with, like, I would say more of the developer community. So I'm like really involved with like, protocol development meetings or hackathons, and like, that's kind of where I am. And I do also all the BCH events as well. And I do all the business development, and we have Kane working more on the community part. So all the meetups and making sure that the meetups are, informed and keep gathering and have a place to inform their meetupies. And Cindy is really like our Chinese superstar, just making everything roll and making sure that we can translate all this content throughout all our channels. So yeah, that's what we're doing. It's really exciting. It's also very new, but I love this sort of connecting all these different communities basically, and realizing that we're communicating the same message, but in different ways on different platforms.
Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing, Eleanor. And I think that's a very nice segue into the next topic, because we're already 20 minutes into our talk. Time flies when you're having fun. So storytelling. And I really want to go with Dylan on this one, because I think he's one of the most prominent storytellers in our group. So what do you think, man? Is it something that you're born with, or you train to be an awesome storyteller? And how do we become one, if that's the case? What's your take?
Well, if I remember correctly, the question of this panel is storytelling a muscle or a superpower?
Yeah.
And I believe the answer is that it's both. The answer is yes, both are true. Storytelling is what makes humans human. I kind of feel so. Everybody has this software running on their personal computer right here. We all have this. We all whether we're talking about what we ate for lunch that day, or whether we're writing a pitch deck about why some investors should give us $10 million for some new company. It's the same muscle. Everybody has this muscle. It becomes a superpower when you apply it diligently and regularly over a long period of time. Then you can really start to cut through the noise and identify not only the audience you're trying to reach, but what kind of story that audience wants to hear. What is the human technology? Remember the story. What is the technology that's going to show them that you can give them exactly what they're looking for? It's beautiful. It's words on a page. It's words in the air. Words on the internet. Words are magic.
Okay. Thank you for an inspirational story.
Do what I can. Do what I can.
Yeah. I want to go to Kalani because Veles has quite an interesting storytelling method. So, Coin Bros, do you wanna share with us? What do you guys think in that space?
Coin Bros. So, I think getting on the topic of storytelling, I mean, you have to be a storyteller if you're going to be a successful business nowadays. We're in the age where it's not like an option, right? You have to do it, and you have to do it well. Alex, the founder of Veles, he's definitely has a crazy story. He's also the founder of CoinPayments.net, and I actually initially met him through I manage a group called the Coin Bros. They're like they do crypto rapping. One of them's actually my brother, and they've done stuff with some of the biggest guys in crypto, like John McAfee, Brock Pierce. Like they're like the crypto rap guys. Oh, she knows them. Is she?
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, you must check them out. I mean, the one with John McAfee and his guns, and just like
one little thought for McAfee right now. Just
So, anyways, it was a crazy story because I've been working in blockchain since 2016. I've actually founded a couple coins that are still running today, and I've also have a heavy background in marketing and creative direction and stuff like that. I was in the music industry before this, so I was managing them. I just came to him. I was like, dude, crypto is huge right now. This was in 2016, end of 2016. I said, crypto's blowing up, man. You guys got to do something with it, because he was a musician before, my brother, and he's a really good rapper. And I was like, dude, just start making raps about crypto, but actually make them pretty good. Like, make it stuff that's funny, that people are gonna like. Let's do it with kind of like a comedic edge to it, but let's also make it like kind of informative and really current with some of the topics that are going down. And he's like, all right. So he took a couple months to kind of learn about it, crypto. And then he started, the first song he did was called BTFD. And the first thing that happened is McAfee retweeted it and it went viral. And it was the first video they ever did. And then McAfee said, hey, he called them up through Twitter and he said, hey, I'm flying you out to my house. You guys are going to stay over here and you're going to shoot a music video at my house. And he flew us all out to his house in Tennessee, and there was like security guards with guns and all this crazy shit. And then he hooked them up with a bunch of money, and from there it was just like boom, they just were hooked on it, and it just turned into this other thing. And then Alex saw the video. He's the founder of Coin Payments and Veles, and he flew us out to the Cayman Islands to shoot a music video there. And then I started talking to him, chopped it up with him, and then he said, yeah, man, I need someone like you on my team. So then I became the global marketing director for his coin. And then, now the Coin Bros are influencers for Veles. And I also work for Coin Payments, his other company. And it's just crazy how these different things just springboarded into each other. And then that's how I met you, Pavel, Shirley, who worked for Veles. And it's just like, that's what I love about this industry, is it just like boom, boom, boom. It just goes from one thing to another. And it's just all these opportunities open up. I think I got a little bit off track there, but sorry.
Hey, we're about, we're talking about storytelling. But that's an amazing story. How you guys pull out John McAfee. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, anyways, storytelling. I won't take up too much more time, but I think storytelling, man. I mean, there's a lot of different types of storytelling, but when you're a really good storyteller, you become like a beacon to people, right? So when you become that beacon, they come back to you for knowledge, right? When you teach somebody something, when you kind of touch them in a certain way that makes a certain way that makes them kind of think and resonate, they're going to come back to you and they're going to follow you, and you're going to become that beacon. So that's kind of like my thoughts on storytelling. I think that's
Yeah.
a very simple kind of basis. Yeah.
No, but I really vibe with that. So I think that's definitely the right approach.
Yeah.
Let's go to Eleanor because you said events changed in 2020 because we barely have any events these days. Everything is digital. Do you think storytelling changed in 2020? Do we see it somehow being impacted by the fact that we are all decentralized because of the COVID-19 thing?
Definitely. Yeah, where to even begin? Like, you know, everything came to a halt, and something that for me was so natural, which was to meet people. And like Kalani said, you know, it's all about that vibe, and events are that vibe, because then people remember those events. Or Davos this year, Pavel, like that's the, you know, that was insane. Those are like crazy moments, and you remember them. And that's how I think until now, like all the connections and all the opportunities I've had in crypto are from people that I've met, that I've had a drink with. That's how it works. Like, so absolutely, things had to change. And when I was still super delusional in the beginning of this year, I thought, oh, I'm going to do VR events. You know, that's how I'm going to do it. You know, we're all going to go and hang out in VR chat. But guess what? It's very elitist to say that, first of all. Not everybody's set up at home with like VR chat, you know, situation things. And then, of course, it changed. I think the vibe changed. People got weird. People got, you know, it got a lot of anxiety in the air. So as a community manager, as whatever, when you're doing this job, you feel it. You feel the tension, and you can feel as well that, okay, in BCH, the vibe it can be very toxic. You know, there's like a lot of people arguing a lot, and it's like, it's not Kalani in the beginning was like, yeah, it's cool if you let them argue and stuff, but it's been a lot of tensions. And so to refocus people on positive things, like, you know, we had BCH Day, 1st of August, which is like, you know, independence / fork day / to go back basically to nice things, to just like bring the tension down and just tell people it's okay. And let's just remember what we're doing, you know, remember what do we celebrate, you know, or maybe like at the end of this month we have like white paper day, or like sort of these things that are sort of that gather people together again around what we're doing. You know, we're not in any other industry. We are motivated cypherpunks, right? We owe it to the space. We owe it to a lot of people out there to sort of not only work our governance out, but also, you know, stand there and be positive, and also remind people of like this technology that we're using, and remind people that it's about cryptocurrency, about peer-to-peer electronic cash, about censorship resistance, and going back to those values. Because when in times of uncertainty like today, you can kind of say, okay, well, at least, you know, fiat world is crumbling apart, and we're still here. We are still here. We're still doing this. It's still crazy, but this is something that you can still do. And yeah, organizing a hackathon was fantastic, I think, this year. That was completely online. Thank God for devs not being so keen on peer-to-peer stuff. So hackathons and bringing it back to the tech and having happy hours, and just, I think that was important. But yes, absolutely, 2020 definitely changed how you do community building. And I had to reinvent as well how I do things, because I was very much about people events, and now it's online. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
I would love to meet you. You seem like a great person to meet. Maybe we'll meet one day.
Amsterdam. Okay,
I like your
Amsterdam.
energy. You have great energy.
Yeah, well, that's.
I think we all got to meet at some point. I mean, I'm very happy to host all of you in Switzerland. We're neutral. We're in the middle. I think everybody can come together. And Eleanor is one of the Swiss folks that actually ventured out to the Netherlands. That's an outlier.
I did that.
Yeah. Swiss people are very happy in Switzerland. In fact, they're so happy, they're very unhappy that a lot of foreigners like myself are coming to Switzerland. So it's definitely, you know, a new experience for a Swiss person to be outside of Switzerland. But yeah, kudos to you for venturing out to Amsterdam. And
I think for Switzerland, just, it's a great country and everything, but for me, it's a bit too square. And like Amsterdam has, I don't know how come, I know all the crypto valley, all of that is happening over there, and somehow I ended up in Amsterdam. And there's also another type of community here. We're less bankers, but there's a lot of innovation as well happening in startups, and that's just a different turf. But it was so nice to go down south and see you guys and see what Switzerland is about, and how you guys see cryptocurrencies as well, and just to compare these different communities and see what's important for different people. And I think we even though we're doing this on a global level, all of us as storytellers with our words, and we can do it digitally, I think there's still something about, local communities have different values, different things. Like you were saying before, Jack, that you're in Shanghai, but depending on which cities, that they value certain there's different things that the community is going to be after. So yeah, I think I saw that as well, just even in Europe, which is teeny tiny compared to China, but you can still feel that. So different thing will echo with different,
Sorry, I missed it at the beginning. Where is everyone from again? Just like where in the world geographically? You're from Amsterdam. You said you're in Taiwan or China, Jack? Where did you say you
China.
were? China. Yeah.
Shanghai.
Yeah. And we got
Yeah.
Switzerland.
Demon City, right, Jack?
Yeah, that's right. Those dudes never sleep. I can't do that shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Dylan is in Austin, Texas.
Yes, sir.
I love Austin, man.
Good town.
Austin's
Good town.
a city. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Austin's cool. I'm in California, San Diego.
Cool.
I want to check out the U.S. community. I haven't done that yet. I really want to go and check it out and see what you guys are about. Well, once life gets less crazy.
That's actually a good point right there, right? So like, how are people preparing for when things do open up? Like right now we've transitioned into the online world where everything's online, but I kind of feel like the people that are prepping themselves and kind of thinking ahead, maybe they can take some advantage of certain things there, being first movers when things do open up, right? There's a lot of ways that you can probably grab a lot of attention if you're strategic.
Yeah, event manager might be a great job next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I thought the US is already open. Is it not?
It is, but it's not so much. I mean, you can go to restaurants and stuff, but like gatherings,
To varying extents. Some states are way more strict than others.
Oh yeah, of course.
California is closely related to prison, from what I understand.
That's all right. It's not so bad. I mean, I live by the beach though, so you can't keep people indoors. They're all at the beach. So
this is painful to hear that you're close to the beach. Here they just were in our second wave, and so everybody's freaking out, and they just closed everything again. So bars and
what? Oh man.
You said your title. I'm sorry. So I don't know. You said your title was horrible, and I am the global ambassador, being Chinese in the middle of the pandemic in 2020.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds. You sound stuck.
I know, right?
No, but I think you've done a lot of traveling anyways within China. I mean, at least when we communicate, you're in different places all the time. So
Yeah, not very global though.
Yeah.
Stopped everything in 2020. I actually stopped. I finished my rent. I was about to move everything out. I was planning on, flying everywhere. First Korea, then India, then all the way to Europe, and then US. Had to find another flat.
Yeah.
Move all my shit.
Right. We're being thrown off track with complaining about how terrible 2020 has been, but in all honesty, I think it hasn't been all that bad. I think for crypto it's been great overall. For everything digital, and it is a digital week online, I think it's been great. Honestly, it is that kick in the butt that we all were waiting for, and it's finally happening. So I think, me personally, despite all the terrible things that has been happening, what I've been observing, I think it's been quite a good year overall.
Yeah, crypto can't get coronavirus. So
Exactly.
this stuff is going to be here next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, etc.
I don't know. My bags are up. I'm happy.
Pavel, I had a thought about storytelling. That if we want to get back on track a little bit, I'm happy to share two little points. When I work with any company, crypto company, anything, and they are trying to identify how to present themselves in English, I always refer them to two very useful quotes, and they're both very short. The first one is "Know thyself," that old Greek aphorism from ancient Greece. This just simply refers to knowing who you are, what you want, what you're going to do today and tomorrow, and how you're going to do those things. When a company can answer that question, then it gets to go right on to the next question. Well, not a question, but the next little bit of advice that I like to give, which is attributed to the French writer Stendhal. It just says that there's just one rule of communication: be clear. So with those two things in mind, know thyself and be clear, I think that makes a very useful frame for companies to start painting a picture inside of.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of
I think
sense.
that's definitely fair. Yeah, but how do you put that into practice? What would be the next step?
I mean, you're asking about a process that's closely related to like writing down your feelings. If I'm like a CEO with my business, I have to like basically do a little bit of journaling, to be perfectly honest with you, about like, what are my motivations? Why does this company exist? Where is it going? What are my goals? That's all a function of knowing yourself. And a lot of good entrepreneurs will already have that down pat before they get started. But some people don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that with storytelling is you got to make people like you. You got to make them want to follow. Well, I guess you could be, I mean, there's some people that could hit the other end of the spectrum, but like, I think it's, you have to be fun to listen to. You can't be boring. And people want, like, it's just like sitting around at a campfire, right? And you're telling a story, you want everyone's eyes glued on you. So you kind of gotta, you gotta be interesting. You
Always
gotta be
leery of trying to appeal to everybody. I don't think any single company is for everybody. If somebody is trying to reach everybody or sell everybody a product, I think that's just they're never going to do that. Kalani,
I'm sorry, I have to, no, I disagree. Ben and Jerry's is that company.
Oh, that's a great example.
I was more talking about just from a kind of like a mechanical standpoint of the way that the story is being told. Like, obviously you're only going to appeal to, you're only directing yourself at your target market, and then you might get some other people in. But I was just saying, like, I mean, we've all listened to storytellers that are just boring, and you're just like, oh, I just want to get this over with. And then there's somebody that they could not even be saying that much, but for some reason, the way that they present it, the way that they push it out, it just grabs your attention. Right. So that's kind of more what I was referring to. It's the mechanics of the storytelling. Right. And that can be on a audio medium, or it can be on like a really amazing writer, the way that they write, the way that the words captivate people. That's a big part of it as well. I think that goes, a lot of that goes into it.
Yeah. So it's both function and form.
Yeah.
And I really want to echo what you said. You can be like both a negative and a positive, depending on what you choose and how you choose to present yourself. And I, together with Dylan and with Eleanor, have witnessed one of the most incredible storytellers, in my opinion, of all times, Nouriel Roubini, or Dr. Doom, who was in Davos, and he just stood there on a stage in front of 200 crypto blockchain fans, like raving fans, and just told everybody in their face that crypto is bullshit. It's bullshit coins. It doesn't make any sense. And just the audacity and the way that he positioned himself, and also speaking from from his authority, like, he's not a stupid person by a long shot. He's a macroeconomist. He publishes his work. He's constantly being invited to different TV shows. Like, he actually has some weight. So to stand there and to look into the abyss and to have the guts to tell his story, which is quite negative for the audience that he was presenting, that took some guts.
It worked, because we're talking about him now.
It worked, exactly.
He knew himself and he was clear.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, like, yes, exactly what Dylan, what you just said, like, exactly your two mantras, he absolutely did that. But I don't think he convinced anyone, because if you can do that. But okay, we all looked at him, and I didn't get out of there and thought, oh my God, Nouriel is right. Like, I already knew what he was going to say. And I thought, oh my God, like, he's so like arrogant. And that's how I felt. I thought, oh my God, so arrogant, not even trying. It's almost rude to be like invited at this type of event and just stand there and say, oh, you're all shit. And I'm like, well, then, it's interesting as well. Like, if you're not convincing people, if you're not, what's the, maybe he hopes that by saying this over and over and over that no one's gonna, get interested in cryptocurrencies. But
maybe he had a different, maybe he had an ulterior motive. Maybe he just wanted recognition. Maybe he just wanted everyone to talk about him. Maybe he didn't care. You know what I mean? Like that
It's
to me,
it's
that's
a
just like
brand.
the only reason you would go to a big crypto convention and
Yeah.
start talking bad about it.
No,
You know?
but he actually having him at your event, it's extremely beneficial because he attracts people. Like
Yeah.
in most cases, because he's so controversial
Yeah.
and on his position, because of his position on crypto and blockchain, he attracts people. So from that point, marketing wise, it's a super effective move, and he's a great
Cool.
storyteller. Yeah,
Do they have that on video? Is there somewhere I can watch that? I haven't seen it.
yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Send me a link to that. I definitely want to see that. See,
What was
it's
your
working. It's working. I'm asking where the link's at. I'm gonna go take a look at it. Right? It's working.
You want to watch the panel that happened after that, because that panel we had Fluffy Pony, so Ricardo from Monero, we had Brittany Kaiser from Own Your Data,
Mhm.
absolutely incredible. We had Nathan Kaiser from Cardano, and we had Nouriel Rubini, and it was moderated by Michael Casey from CoinDesk / MIT Digital Lab. So it was, one of the most incredible panels that I've definitely witnessed. So I'll share the links after.
Definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah.
I think Brittany Kaiser was like, for me, that was an epic moment this year. And she's also a great storyteller. Like, she also knew what she stood for, and she spoke very well. And yeah, I know that. Yeah, I don't know. I really liked everything from that event. Yeah, Pavo, that was an amazing job, man. That was insane. Thank you so much for organizing all of that.
But she's such a great storyteller because she actually did a movie, The Great Hack. I'm gonna just call it out here, but it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Her story is incredible, and she's working for what's his name, Brock Pierce campaign.
Really? Oh my God,
Yes.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, Brock
Oh my God.
Brock Pierce is running for president.
Yeah, and she's behind it. She's helping.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yes. That's
Well,
insane.
at least to go back to what Kalani said as well before, she's authentic. Well, at least she feels authentic when she's like there. It's like it feels like she believes what she's saying. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not authentic, you gotta at least make people think you're authentic.
The movie helps.
Right.
Yeah, it gives like background. It makes you want to you empathize with her, which is fantastic. That's fantastic PR right there. That documentary just.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm
Pierce.
gonna check it out for sure.
Brock Pierce is, I mean, it's
I met him at Burning Man like 4 years ago, and that's a time for another story. When I went to my first Burning Man, and I was already in the crypto scene. I knew who he was, and I just like I was in this. I'll tell the story some other time. But anyways, we met each other on the desert. Yeah, at Burning Man. That was pretty cool.
Right, folks. Moving on, because we've only got 15 minutes left, and time flies when you're having fun. Let's talk about marketing and product. So, as I mentioned in the opening statement, you see this convergence currently happening between these two quite separate verticals within a company, but somehow there's the creation of closed feedback loop in a way, because product always strives to build something that is usable.
Mm-hmm.
And marketing talks to the potential buyers effectively. So to me, it actually makes a lot of sense that these two units somehow collaborate. So you kind of give that feedback. You present maybe an early stage product to your audiences, and then you kind of get that feedback loop set up, and effectively that could potentially equate to better growth opportunities. So I just want to pick your brain as to where you guys are on this concept. What do you think? Is this the right move? Is it something that's already happening with your company, with some of the clients that you're working with? Like, what's your take on this?
As far as products going, like, are you talking about like releasing products and like the run up to it, and the way that we're talking with them on the marketing end?
Exactly.
So what you're going.
There like a communication between the marketing and the products?
Yeah, that's probably the hardest part, right? Because in marketing, if something goes wrong, we're always the first ones to get blamed, right? If let's say there's a whole company, marketing are the first guys to get blamed. Well, the marketing wasn't good enough, right? But it's not always true. And sometimes it is true. I mean, every situation is different. But I think the hardest part is communicating and getting you know, the vision from a development standpoint to the voice that they want and the way that they want to push the product out. And then you're at the external end where you're at the end of it, and you need to put that out. And it's basically like you have all this weight on top of you because all these people that have spent all these months putting this thing together, taking the time to do this, you need to make sure that it's put out the right way. You need to make sure it's represented the right way. And then sometimes they don't give you what you want, or sometimes what they want to do isn't exactly optimal to what you feel in your head is the way that it should be put out. So that's probably the biggest challenge, is taking these products, putting them out the right way, making sure that we're giving the right voice, putting out the right messaging, and building enough hype so that people are actually interested with it. And it doesn't end, right? The product, especially in blockchain space, like the stuff, I think we've done about 10 updates to our wallet, reskinned it, done all these different things. And it's an ongoing, continuing thing that we're constantly doing. So like the product releases are more like updates, and then you go like a big release, which would be, okay, this is our product. Like for instance, we're doing a centralized video platform. So that's like the big release, but the updates are almost catch more people's attention because it's the little changes and the improvements that you make constantly. At least in the crypto space, that's how it works. So it's kind of my thought process.
I want to throw the ball to Jack because he is an engineer and he's been involved in the product for a while at Cybervein. So I just want to see what your thoughts are on this. Should product work closer with marketing? I know that at Cybervein everybody works together on a lot of initiatives, but what has been your experience?
Yeah, I think marketing is important, but I think it's bloody hard as well. That's why, thank God, I'm not doing marketing in my company. I'm not a good storyteller. I can't tell shit. This one thing I keep telling my parents is that changing one's mind is the hardest thing in the world, and I found that very difficult. I can't change people's mind. So as an engineer, I think that product is so much easier than marketing. But nonetheless, in crypto world, that's one of the necessary steps you have to take, right? Because you do an ICO or you do private sale, you get money first instead of actually having a product. And you don't use the product to sell to the communities. You don't use the product to get communities' attention first, right? It's sort of like a backwards step from traditional industries. So one of my colleagues keeps saying to me is that he's going to stay in crypto space forever, because in crypto, he thinks that 90% is all about marketing. Although I disagree. I think that good products will eventually be used of and actually shine, like Chainlink in DeFi, or on the some other products I can't really think of. But that's what I'm trying to get a good product. Go from A to B, talk to the governments, talk to different companies for collaborations, etc. I think it's easy, but doing marketing and talk to the communities, trying to change their minds, especially with that much variety of people, it's just bloody difficult. But not that I'm saying it's not important, but I think it's very important.
Yeah.
Dylan,
actually, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to get Dylan engaged a bit. So you've worked with a ton of different companies and you've covered them in your career. So what's your take? Like, how are companies effective at explaining their products? Do you see them doing,
Most of the time they are not effective at explaining their own products. I find that oftentimes companies are too close to their own product to identify what a third party, what an outsider like me coming in might say, oh, why is this over here on the interface? Or why doesn't this app do this basic thing that I think it should do? I think sometimes companies get too in love with their own ideas, and then before you know it, they're about to release something that people aren't interested in. It can happen, but that's why we have all these focus groups and things like this. Look, I'm a writer. I pick things up, I play with them, and then I write about it. And sometimes that is informed by somebody from a company explaining how and why something works. Oftentimes it is me figuring it out for myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's really interesting, actually. Yeah, I guess
people love their own ideas a lot. I love my own ideas so much,
Yeah.
it's not until they bounce off of other people that you can establish a more worthwhile sense of if it's a good or bad idea.
Yeah.
But then you need that market feedback at an earlier stage. So whatever you're releasing,
Focus groups, ask a buddy. There's no wrong way to do it. But I always caution people, if it's like a close knit team of 3 people and nobody except me outside the company has seen something, then I will pretty seriously lean on them to like, hey, go tell your parents what the heck you've just built, or explain it to your neighbor. If you can explain it to your neighbor, then you can probably explain it to other people.
Yeah.
I take it a step further. Convince your neighbor to participate.
use the product.
Whatever you use the product, whatever you're building. Like, are you actually solving a problem? Are you addressing a necessary problem that's out there? And and I've seen this when we had the incubator for early stage blockchain companies. There's so many founders came to us and said, "We've built this." And I'm like, "That's great. That's amazing. Are you solving a problem?" I'm like, "Have you seen this? I built this. This is incredible." I'm like, God bless you. You need to address the problem. And most importantly, if you're addressing the problem, then you need to have community or users that will be buying into or using your product. And that's why, to me, like, you need to have that feedback loop.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I guess like in Bitcoin Cash, like I'm not part of like a product, like I'm not developing like a wallet or an exchange. So I don't have that direct like users, experience. But what I can say is that if the product is the protocol, the lead implementation this year is trying to implement a new feature, which is basically to reward themselves directly from the Coinbase, to take part of the block reward and to directly whitelist one address that they would control. So they want to take 8% of the block reward and shove it to themselves basically. And they're putting all these arguments out there that finally the lead implementation would be funded, etc. This is typically a problem of a proof of work blockchain that doesn't have a self-funding mechanism like, I don't know, Decree, Tezos, and Dash, and those guys. And basically the funding problem in Bitcoin Cash, they wanted to solve it this way. And I see the backlash. Basically, they did not listen to the community. They are just pushing through with this feature that no one wants, that miners don't want, but that the lead development team wants, right? They want money. So it's really interesting to see like how this is playing out. And how, like, I'm just seeing it, unravel this year. And basically you were talking about, do you listen to your community and the feedback, and how do you do it? How do you make sure that you're developing something that people want? This is another situation where values are very important. And we're going back to the idea of having multiple implementation teams so that we don't fall under the dictatorship of like one lead implementation or 1 or 2, 3 devs that have a specific mindset that are not listening to the feedback of the community. So it's interesting because if you're a company and you're communicating your roadmap, and then in the middle you sort of shift and you say, oh no, we're not going to do any of that, we're going to go this way, you're kind of, going without your community, which is also a thing you can do. But it's all at play. We might be able to get rid of our lead implementation. Miners might just not continue with that software and not update with that piece of new tech in it that no one wants. So
I think you can listen to your community, but I also think that you need to have a strong vision and have a really good conviction of what you're doing and pushing forward. And you need to convince them about what you want to do, right? So, I mean, it is good to get feedback from the community. I mean, that's why we test and all that. But I definitely think that if you let the community do too much, depending on what type of project it is, right? If you let the community do too much, then you can kind of cloud your vision, from you're trying to get from point A to point B. But if you take too much information in, it can steer you off on separate paths. You just got to have a really good conviction behind what you're doing. But I guess every situation's different, so.
Yeah,
I think
all at play, right?
Mission and vision is super important, and yes, the overall direction is definitely key. But when it comes to product development, right, there's this school of thought, design thinking, which specifically talks about how you continuously iterate and you show early stage iteration of your product to your communities, to your audiences, to a small group of potential users, and how you get that feedback, and then you effectively build something that is much more suited, much more needed, and answers their needs in a much better way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that makes sense.
Dylan, I feel like you want to jump in.
Sure. What to talk about, man? How can I chime in here?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much out of time. We're still on product, or we can go back to one of the previous topics if there's some things left unsaid on the storytelling or communities. I think we can slowly.
I can just offer a thought about it would be. I think it would be an interesting exercise for a business leader to make his or her own product team write the first draft of the documentation. I think that would be a very fun experiment for a business leader to run. And it would be interesting to see how the text that those people create, whether it's for a press release or a website or anything, whatever the text may be, it'd be very interesting to see if the product team can accurately reflect to leadership what leadership is trying to accomplish. So if any CEOs are listening and you want to scare people next week, give them a fun experiment.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Okay, folks, closing statements, and I think we're all out of time.
Tell your story with care, because on the internet, your story is your identity.
Okay, Jack?
I don't know. I'm amazed at how people can, talk about one topic for over 5 or 10 minutes. I can't do that. I can just give one straight answer. But I think that's just something I need to learn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I would say just be different. Be authentic, but be different. Make yourself stand out. Don't try to be like everyone else. It sounds a little bit cliche, but it works. The more you can separate yourself from the pack, the more attention you'll get.
Yeah. Cliches are cliches because they're true. Cliches are that because they're true. They actually, they work. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah. Eleanor, grace us with your closing statement.
Too much pressure. Thank you for having us here today. And for me, I guess I'll try to continue and stay authentic and to what I want to see happening in cryptocurrency and see, this beautiful magic internet money that we're all working on some different level, and see this decentralization, see this censorship resistance that we have, that we're working with, and just see it unfold, this ongoing social and economical experiment, and just enjoy the ride as well.
Yeah, thanks so much. Do you guys want to maybe showcase your services or your products before we go? So there's a bit of a shout out opportunity. If you want people to join anything, go ahead, go out.
You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search my name, Self-Employed Dylan Love. That'll be me.
Jack?
Oh, yeah. At times. So Cybervein, we are having a huge event on 26th in Shanghai. Anyone happens to be in China watching YouTube? Are we on YouTube?
We are everywhere. We're on YouTube. We're on Restream. We're on a bunch of different.
Yeah, very unlikely. But if any Chinese people are actually watching this in China, come to Shanghai and watch our event. We're pushing for top 50 this month. We're already at 60-ish, something like that. And it's going to be great. It's going to be a great month and a great year for Cybervein.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of work needs to be done before the Chinese New Year.
That's cool.
Eleanor?
Satoshi'sAngels.com. Follow us if you want to, see more things in the peer-to-peer electronic cash community. And our next event is on Monday with 2 whales connecting on Bihu, which is a Chinese platform. So also for other Chinese audience out there that want to tune in, we'll have red packets, right? That's the fun thing as well to have. And thank you.
Thanks. Lonnie?
Bellas.com. We're an AI-powered proof of stake, delegated proof of stake platform. And I also work for coinpayments.net, which is the #1 crypto payment processor in the world. We do more coins than anyone else. And check them both out.
Yep. Awesome, guys. Thanks so much. We're all out of time. My name is Pavel. This was White Space's marketing panel specifically for Digital Week Online. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you with us. And I think we should be out by now. Thanks.
Hey, everyone, let's connect. Hit me up on Telegram or wherever.